Be me, 28, male, night shift bartender in a downtown hole-in-the-wall with a stubborn neon sign. Social battery lasts about as long as a phone at 2% on a cold day regulars. Contractors, nurses, a guy who swears he invented the Caesar salad. 1 a.m. is when the city exhales and my brain finally stops buffering door chimes. Winter air barges in like an unpaid bill. She walks in uniform, duty belt, tired eyes that look like they've seen the sequel. No one asked for coffee to go, she says, voice gravel and honey me. It's a bar, her, and yet I sense the presence of caffeine in this establishment. Pour coffee out of spite, add a splash of kindness by accident. She drops a couple of crumpled singles and a smile that's heavier than money leaves before I can put a name to the silhouette next night. Same time, same order. I replace the spite with cinnamon, because character development. She notices cinnamon, huh? Me, scientifically proven to keep nightmares 6% away. She huffs a laugh that sounds like a door finally unlocked. Keep the study going. Third night, she slides onto a stool, instead of hovering like a ghost on a mission. Badge reads, Martinez. You ever sleep, I ask, sometimes by accident. We do small talk like two people, diffusing a bomb labelled feelings she drinks. I wipe the same clean spot 30 times, to look busy. Name she asks. Tell her mine, she files it somewhere safe. I want to ask her real questions, the kind you can't say over ice and glass settle for cream or sugar. No, I earn my sweetness. Fourth night, she's back, grim around the edges. I don't ask, she doesn't say. I just refill without charging and slide over a napkin doodle of a coffee cup wearing a cape. She looks up. Something unclenches in her jaw. Super brew, she says. We both pretend that's normal behaviour. Fifth night, the neon sign dies mid-shift like a soap opera star. I'm on a stool, elbow deep in a nest of wires, and regret door opens. Cold follows her in like a loyal dog. You breaking and entering your own sign? Me. I'm doing a controlled experiment in electrocution. She steadies the ladder with one gloved hand. Without being asked, we breathe the same nervous air for 5 minutes that feel like a truce sign, flickers back to life. Casts a pink lake across her cheek, she says, nice save, like I rescued a planet. I say any time, like I mean it too much for a man with pliers. We start orbiting each other nightly, like satellites too stubborn to crash. She comes in even on her days off, calls it patrolling for pastries. I put a plate under the counter labelled Martinez tax. Fill it with whatever survived the oven. We trade war stories of small humiliations. I talk spills, she talks paperwork. I say my shoes are permanently sticky. She says her soul is too. There's a slow lane of conversation we drift into. After midnight, favourite songs, worst apartments, the exact number of lies a city tells to stay standing. She says she can't sleep, but I say I can't stop thinking at 3 a.m. Same disease, she says, saluting with her mug. First snow arrives the way trouble does. Quiet, then everywhere she shows up with a knit beanie that looks illegally cute for government property. I pretend not to notice the way the beanie makes her less bulletproof. She pretends not to notice. I poured the cinnamon with both hands. I print a receipt, write "Be safe" on the bottom, like a coward with a pen. She flips it over, writes "Make it home." It fits in my wallet like a second spine. One night she's late. The bar empties, then fills again, with a different kind of silence. Door finally opens. She's there, but she's not. Hands shaking, face set to, I don't get to break. I don't talk, I set a mug down. Then a second. Because I don't trust the first to hold enough, she stares at the steam like it might answer a question. Kid, she says, voice too even. We let the sentence end there, because Mercy, after a while, she breathes out a laugh that isn't funny. You ever wish the world had a timeout chair? I built a whole bar around the idea, I say. She smirks without joy, then looks at me for real, the way people look when they're picking a door. Thanks for the cinnamon, she says. I say, any time, and the word means more things than usual. She leaves a small patch of winter behind when she goes. I mop around it like a shrine next week. She brings a dartboard under one arm, like it owes her rent. We need recreation therapy. We hang it on brick, start keeping score in chalk, Like we're both bad at math on purpose, she throws with the focus of a bomb tech. I throw like a man negotiating with gravity. She wins, obviously. What do I get? She asks. Free coffee for life. I say, I already have that. Then I smile at your jokes. That'll do. There's an easiness to it. Two people who speak fluent late night. She starts coming by before shift 2, uniform crisp, hair pinned like a promise. I tuck extra napkins into her to-go bag. Because every war needs bandages, the regulars start calling her Officer Cinnamon. Behind her back, and in front of my grin, one of them asks if she's my girlfriend. I say she's a constant and pretend that's not a confession. A storm rolls in like a plot twist with a budget bar goes dark. Only candles and the stubborn neon painting. The room in cheap romance she's stuck between calls, sits on the stool closest to the doorway, like she can sprint towards sirens if they whistle. I put a small speaker on the bar, play something quiet that lets the dark breathe. We talk about nothing and everything at once. How her dad used to fix radios, and how my mother still texts me photos of clouds. The kind of conversation that glues two humans together without them noticing the stick. You always this decent? She asks out of nowhere. Only on camera, I say, gesturing at the dead security cam. Like a liar, lightning laughs at us. Power flickers back. The song hiccups and returns. We don't. After that, the ritual gets bones at 12:47. She pushes through the door. I push a mug across the bar. At 12:48, we exchange a headline about our day. At 12:49, we step into a small elastic silence that only exists here. A Thursday pretends to be a Monday, and fails. She comes in off duty, in a hoodie that belongs to someone who lost it. Sits, curls fingers around ceramic like it might read her palm. Couldn't sleep, she says. Night has receipts. I say we watch the empty street for a while. Like it's a movie that's almost good, she asks. If I ever wanted to be anything else. I say less tired, and she nods like I passed a test. You, she thinks too long. I wanted to be a drummer, she says, then laughs at herself, then stops laughing. I drum 4 soft beats on the bar, 2 and 2, a tiny heartbeat we both hear. Close enough, she says later, when the last stool is upside down and the floor smells like lemons and bleach and survival. I lock the door. She's still there. We don't say anything about that either. I flip the handwritten closed sign. She stands. The room shifts weight toward her without asking me. We stand in the kind of close that creates its own weather outside. A plough snarls. Inside. The ice machine coughs. The universe clears its throat. This is a bad idea, she says. Top 3. I say we don't move, then we do. The first kiss is tentative, like we're both testing the floorboards of an old house. The second forgets to be careful. The third finds its own name and refuses to give it back. She tastes like coffee in winter, and an apology she doesn't owe anyone. My hands memorize the safe places, her shoulders, the place where fear concedes to warmth. We pull apart because Oxygen filed a complaint. She looks like a person who doesn't get to look like this. Often, we can't, she says to the floor. We didn't, I say to the ceiling. We both look at each other and lose that argument. Morning shows up late and too bright, like a supervisor. We do the choreography of denial with professional grace. She leaves a 20 under the mug, like a bribe to normalcy. See you, she says. Be safe. I say we both mean again and soon. And what have we done? The week that follows is a masterclass in pretending. Same mug, same stool, same dartboard, different gravity hands, brush over sugar packets, and the air files a report. She laughs at a dumb joke and it lands like a flare in my lungs. I start remembering her coffee order by muscle memory and heart insistence. A regular tries to flirt with her. She smiles polite and ghostly. Later, she tosses a peanut at me. For no reason, this counts as intimacy now. A call goes bad on a Monday that refuses to apologize. She shows up after, late hair not pinned, uniform heavier than usual. I push water first because somewhere in me there's a rescue dog. She sips, stares at the dartboard like it's a map out of here. I hate losing, she says. I'm fine at it, I say. Because I've practiced, she presses her knuckles to the bar until they blush. I don't want to be a disaster in your nice little routine. My routine has been begging for arson, I say, and it makes her snort laugh against her will. We close early without saying we're closing early. I kill lights, lock doors. The room becomes a secret. We share with the mop bucket. We kiss like we've both been told we shouldn't, and are bad listeners. It's messy and good and real, and no one can audit it afterwards. We sit on the floor behind the bar, backs against the fridge that hums like an old man. She leans her head on my shoulder, as if it learned to be furniture. Just for this, your trouble, she says. I'm affordable trouble. I say. She smiles into my shirt and I feel it through. Bone weeks happen. They're loud, inconvenient, beautiful. She sometimes texts alive at 3:11 a.m. and I breathe again. I sometimes text soup at 5:02 p.m. and a paper bag appears 2 hours later, like magic with a badge. The bar learns her name out loud, not just on receipts. A guy gives her grief about uniforms. She de-escalates him with 4 sentences and a look that turns volume down on his entire personality. I watch and feel something file itself under reverence. We argue once about nothing because the human body requires it. She storms out. I polish glasses like they personally offended me. She returns 20 minutes later with a cinnamon rolls and a truce. I fight dirty, she says. You fight delicious. I say. She steals the first bite. Anyway, eventually the hiding becomes a choice instead of a panic. Not because we're ashamed, but because the night feels like it's ours, and I don't want to share it with daytime. She starts leaving little pieces of herself behind a coin from a vending machine that betrayed her, a hair tie near the register, a tiny notebook with lists titled Things I Won't Forget, and under it, items like keys, wallet, breath. I start keeping a spare mug on the warmer that only ever waits for her. We're not a secret, we're a frequency on an ordinary nothing. Special Tuesday, I get a text. Long day. Any chance of quiet? I answer. I have a surplus. She arrives bone-tired, hands roughed up by a world that refuses to be gentle. I don't ask for a report, I just pour and present and shut up. She sips, puts the mug down, face in her palms for a full minute. That lasts an hour. Then she breathes out, looks at me like the eye of a storm. Looked back and found the shore. You make the night kinder, she says. I say something like, you make it honest, because my brain panicked and opened the truth drawer. We dance once, not on purpose. I'm sweeping and a song comes on that should be illegal at this hour. She offers a hand, ironic eyebrow engaged. I take it like I'm being sworn in. We sway surrounded by upturned stools and spilled light. Her head fits under my chin like the architect planned for it. The song ends, we don't. Her brother calls while she's in the bathroom. His contact photo is a child her, gap-toothed and furious at a cake. I learn she's human in other people's stories too. I love that for me. Sometime in spring the city remembers. It has trees. She shows up in a t-shirt that says, be nice or leave. I make a sign that says, be nice and stay. She laughs hard enough to startle the bottles. She comes by before a double, leaves after a triple. I learn her tells, the way she traces a circle on the bar with her ring finger. When she's not okay, I start tracing the same circle backwards. When I am, we match without planning. One night, the precinct throws a retirement party 2 blocks over. She texts, she might be late. I pretend to be fine and rearrange the napkins into a modern sculpture of anxiety. Door opens, she steps in, hair up, lipstick like a dare. The room makes the wrong kind of noise in my chest. She can tell because she's a professional observer. Hey, she says. Hey, I say, which is code for, I would cross a small desert for you, if requested in triplicate. We're laughing about something dumb when a couple of off-duty cops wander in. Loud, curious, they see us. One of them winks like a bad sitcom. So this is the famous bar guy, he says. She rolls her eyes with fraternal fondness. This is the guy who doesn't ask for details, she says. They nod like I've passed an invisible background check later. After they leave, I exhale a week's worth of tension. She leans over the bar, kisses me with the door unlocked and the world not exploding. Promotion, she says. Is that what this is? No, different thing. Sergeant list. I grin like a man who suddenly believes in systems we celebrate with pie at 2 a.m. Because cake is too formal. Summer forgets we're fragile and turns the city into a griddle. Nights smell like asphalt and ambition. She keeps a spare shirt in the back because sweat is free. I keep a fan pointed at the espresso machine because steam has opinions. A fight breaks out down the block. The bar jerks toward it like a dog at a window. She's halfway to the door before the second shout. I hate that I love watching her run toward the thing. Everyone else flees. I hate that I love that about her because it means she's exactly herself. I mop until she returns, heart stuck in the rinse cycle. She comes back fine, cheeks high with heat and adrenaline. I hand her water, she downs it, then leans across the bar and kisses me, like gravity owes us both a favour. I'm okay, she says against my mouth. Copy, I say, and feel stupid for how much that is everything. We have our first big fight on a Wednesday that had it coming. Not about anything real, because those are the dangerous ones, about a missed text and a too late reply and a joke that landed wrong because exhaustion speaks with an accent. Voices rise, walls listen, we both say less than we mean and more than we should. She leaves, the door closes like a gavel. I clean an already clean bar until it gleams like a threat. An hour later there's a knock, even though the sign says, open eye, open anyway. She stands there with an apology, held together by stubbornness. I'm bad at needing things, she says. I'm bad at saying no to you. I say we stand in that truth until it stops biting. She pulls a single cinnamon stick from her pocket like a white flag. Truce? I take it and snap it in half, so we both hold a piece. Truce Fall rolls in on quiet wheels and drops off a stack of orange at our door. She swaps the beanie for a cap. I swap iced for hot routine. Wears a ring now, small things swell with meaning. She leaves her badge on the bar once, by accident. While she ties her hair back, I put my stupid bottle opener ring next to it like a raccoon, offering a shiny. The two bits of metal look like they've met in an airport and decided to share a cab, she notices. Smiles, the kind of smile people move cities for. You're ridiculous, she says. I'm consistent. I say, a particularly cruel week lands on us both. With both feet her shifts stack. My deliveries don't. I drag through days like they're ankle-deep water. She drags through nights like they're gravel. One night she texts, nothing, which says everything. She arrives anyway, late, quiet, whole in the way that counts and frayed everywhere else. I pour without asking, because that's the only language I'm fluent in. She drinks half, breathes out like a tire, and then like a person we don't talk, we don't touch, we exist next to each other, like two batteries on the same charger. The lights hum, the ice machine finally shuts up. The street forgets to be mean. For 5 minutes, she pulls the badge off, sets it on the bar with a small clink that sounds like surrender. I slide my ring next to it like a promise that doesn't need vows to be real. Her fingers find mine, not a grab, not a plea, just contact. We stand like that until the clock forgets its job. I'm tired, she says. Me too, I say. We lock up early. Outside the air smells like leaf and midnight. We walk the block and back, arms not linked but near. The space between us an understood thing that doesn't need fences back inside. She presses her forehead to mine like a prayer that doesn't owe anyone an amen. Don't fix it, she says. Won't, I say. We breathe until breath is easy again. Later. When she leaves, she forgets the badge on purpose. I put it under the bar light and watch it glow like a small sun. I can finally look at the next night. She comes for it. She doesn't take it right away. We let it sit there, between us, next to the ring, like two coordinates that make a map. We are not dramatic people, we are not a headline. We are a door left unlocked for the right person. The city keeps insisting we earn this. We keep insisting. Back the bar ages, another season with us, in it. I learn her coffee order for when she's angry, for when she's sad, for when she's proud, for when she's pretending those aren't 4 different drinks. She learns my silences by flavour: cinnamon for worry, vanilla for hope, black for I am still here. I start closing earlier on Thursdays because that's the night she can breathe. She starts carrying a spare key because sometimes I can't. We do not talk about the future in capital letters. We do not draw blueprints, we just keep showing up. Like it's a religion that accepts late arrivals, a rookie on her shift, asks if I'm the bartender, with a tone that wants a story. She says, "He's the person," and keeps walking. I pretend I didn't hear, and save the sentence in my pocket for winter. Winter returns like a rerun, with new jokes, snow scribbles on the sidewalks, sirens sound like wolves practicing harmonies. She comes in with a bandage on her knuckles, and a smile she stole off a braver day. I kiss both just to see if affection counts as medicine verdict. Yes, a calendar flips with no fanfare. She stands in the doorway at 12:47 like always, shakes off snow, drops the badge on the bar and the weight from her shoulders into my hands. I put my ring beside it, and while the city keeps chewing on itself outside, we build a small quiet nobody can repossess. We don't post about it, we don't name it for anyone else. We just exist in it, and it exists in us later. When the world asks for proof, I will point to the cinnamon sticks, to the dark chalk on our fingers, to the way the neon light made a lake on her cheek the first night, and how I've been swimming in it ever since. For now be me night shift bartender. With a frequency she walks in like always, I pour like always, we touch like always ordinary upgraded end of shift, not end of story.